Welcome back to Topher Drives, where today you join me in Irvine, California with the new baby Lambo. This is the 2026 Temerario, and today we're going to give you some raw first driving impressions and run a bit of a morning commute out to the canyons. I know, not the most traditional morning commute, and we're actually at a massive office building right now, so it's a little bit backwards. We're going from the office to the canyons, but I am so excited that I finally have my hands on this thing because I've been reading about it and it seems absolutely mad. Now, this has a twin turbocharged 4-liter flat plane crank V8 with 2 electric motors in the front and 1 electric motor between the engine and the transmission. Combined power output in this thing is 907 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. Of course, this is all-wheel drive because it's a proper baby Lambo, and it's got an 8-speed DCT. Now, this is a little bit strange because baby Lambos of years past have always been a little bit more reserved, a little bit less chaotic. And take the Gallardo and the Huracan, for example. The Murcielago had the Gallardo, the Aventador had the Huracan, and now, you guys saw we drove the Revuelto. The Revuelto's insane. I have a feeling this is going to be insane too. I've only driven this a couple of miles to this parking lot, so these will be my genuine first impressions. But from what I've seen and from what I've read on paper, this is the closest a baby Lambo has ever been to its big sibling, in this case, the Revuelto. So the big party piece of this is, yes, it has a V8. That's a little bit of a bummer. It's down from the V10 of the Gallardo and the Huracan, but this revs to 10,250 RPM. So that's going to be a party piece all in itself. And the Topher, who's been driving this for the last couple of days, told me that it sounds like a sport bike. So I'm excited to actually rev it out. I haven't had a chance to because the gears are so long in the 8-speed DCT, you hit 60 in first. So we're going to have to literally, we have to take this out to the canyons to be able to do anything. But I want to talk design here because that's important for a Lamborghini as well. And this is my favorite angle of this car. The back of this is absolutely mad. I mean, look at these rear tires. This has got to absolutely spit rocks at whatever is driving behind you. So I suspect I'll be in the back today to spare the paint on the 911 GT3 and the Integra. You can see Charlie from Daily Motor walking over to say hello. We're doing a little bit of a canyon tandem today, but it's so funny. We're driving this in tandem with a 911 GT3, and this is the car that revs higher. That is just wild. Since we're back here, let's talk tires. This is actually a Bridgestone Potenza Sport, so I think this is actually exactly what the Revuelto had on it. In the back, a 325/30 ZR21. Obviously, this is staggered. On the front, we have a 255/35 ZR20. Greetings. Is your child okay to be on camera?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she's going to take over Daily Motor
Hello.
someday, so you
Okay.
might as well.
That's
You
right.
have to pay her, but
Okay, well,
she's on camera too.
I'll start a college fund for her now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was just showing the ladies and gentlemen what we're going to be driving this morning, and on the way over here, I gave it about 40% throttle in second gear, and it stuck the tail out at like 25 miles an hour. So we're going to make sure to warm these tires up before we go out and do our thing. But
Yes, you
yeah.
are Titan.
Angles aren't as crazy around the front, but I think at launch, this probably looks the wildest out of the recent baby Lambos, the Gallardo and the Huracan, because in this particular spec, finished in Verde Mercurius, which is quite the green, with the red accents, it's a little bit like Christmas. I think this looks absolutely bonkers. So we're just gonna jump in this today and go for a drive. And if you think the spec is bonkers on this, wait till you hear the price. Now, the Temerario starts at $383,000. This one, as spec, is $585 grand. So this has an entire GT4 RS Porsche in options. Chief of which is the Embroidered pack. I think I said that right. Yes, Embroidered, which basically means everything that can be carbon fiber is carbon fiber. So they have these little trim bits here on the edge of the windows are carbon fiber, the interior door panels, that's I think the biggest piece of carbon fiber here. You've got the side skirts, those are carbon fiber, the little bit on the wheel arch, that's carbon fiber. You come around to the front lip, that's carbon fiber. And then, actually my favorite design element on this car, oh, thank you, thank you. My favorite design element on this car are the little hexagons on the front for the DRLs. I think those look quite nice. But anyway, let's quickly poke around this. Obviously the engine's in the back, or it's mid-engined rather, because this is an Lamborghini, and you have the firing order there on the engine as well, 153744826. Now this opens. I'm not going to do it because you have to have this little tool to do so. But there's the engine. Up front we have an frunk, which currently has the Topher's suitcase in it. But we'll show you what room looks like up here, because I don't know, maybe you're using this as your commuter car. You need some space up front. And this could do that for you. Look at that. It fits the Topher suitcase in there. Now this came with like a car cover and some stuff in it, so we did have to take that out. But you've got some stuff here. You've got a 12-volt outlet right there as well. If you're like camping or something with this, you can do that sort of thing. And this does have a very small battery. It's able to do about 4 miles on electric power only. So remember, very similar to the Revuelto, of which it is following up, I suppose. But why don't we go ahead and jump in this thing? I don't want to be walking around this all day. I want to get in it and actually drive it. So let's jump in. We don't have the typical Lamborghini doors, and I like that they haven't done this. They've kind of continued the tradition of the baby Lamborghini having just regular doors. What I don't like about this is how you get out, because you get in, okay, for one, you've got a little piece of fabric to shut the door for weight savings. By the way, this Alegerita package is $45,000 and it saves you 55 pounds. So I'm completely canceling that out by having the Topher suitcase in the frunk right now. But anyway, I don't like how you get out, because it's very awkward to then hit this button. You have to hit the button and then push kind of with the side of your arm. I don't super love that, but anyway. And then this just, I don't know, I feel like I'd be okay having the extra like half a pound in interior door handles, but anyway. This starts up like any other Lamborghini. You have this little cover over the start-stop button. And since it's a hybrid, it starts up in EV mode, or Cheetah, as Lamborghini calls it. We'll put these windows up to see how quiet this is inside. But this will always start in Cheetah, and this particular car needs an oil change. So forgive that message for coming up on the screen. But as you can see, we've got 3 miles of complete EV range left on this. Interior is very similar to the Revuelto in the way that you have this vertical tablet that comes off of the dashboard. It floats at the bottom. I tried so many times to get my phone to go into CarPlay. Oh, it's working. Okay, CarPlay is up right now. I'm never going to touch this again and try and mess with it ever again, because CarPlay is working. We also have the passenger screen, which does passenger screen stuff. And then we have these 4 little dials here on the steering wheel, very similar to the Revuelto as well. In fact, I think this entire steering wheel has been pulled from the Revuelto. We've got carbon on the top of the wheel, carbon on the bottom, carbon fiber paddle shifters, and carbon around our gauge cluster. This is absolutely wild. The problem with a car like this is you can't really go anywhere and expect to blend in. I mean, it's absolutely impossible. Everybody's staring at you constantly. I think it's time to leave the parking lot and go and see what this thing is like to live with. We're going to pull up behind the Topher there in that Andile livery Porsche 911 GT3, so keep an eye out for a video on that too. Easy to put this into drive. You just pull that right paddle. But actually, I want to show you what reverse is like, because we have a 360 camera on this that is quite nice. Disengage that parking brake. There's people taking videos of the cars, hopefully for the right reason. This 360 camera is all sorts of confused. This Temerario has ultra light steering. I mean, like borderline pinky light steering. Not a whole lot of feel through the front of this, so hopefully that's okay for the canyons. I guess we'll find out. Christopher?
He's arrived.
How's your Andile?
It's a choice, that's for sure.
It says Arnold on the top. Is that your name today?
Yeah. How's your festive Lamborghini?
It's quite nice. It's electric at the moment.
Yeah.
I'll take up the back because I'm James May for one, but also these tires are just going to ruin the front of that car if I'm in front of you. So yeah, so I'll take up the back. Off we go. That GT3 is so cool. Unlike the Huracan, the Temerario has its window switches on the door, as opposed to having the long line of switches on the dashboard, which I quite like. And similar to the Huracan, the turn signal is on the steering wheel. Luckily though, it's pretty easy to get used to this. I haven't been reaching over here for a turn signal stalk at all. We'll see if I do during the video. The funniest part about this car is it manages to be obnoxiously loud in cheetah mode. I mean, listen to that. Do a short press for 3 blinks, long press, and it'll stay on. All right, that's enough of that. Let's put this into Strada. This is basically normal mode. Actually, we're gonna go one further into Sport, because that will immediately fire up the 4-liter twin-turbo flat-plane crank, electrically assisted 907 horsepower V8. That revs to 10,250 RPM. It does lock you out of redline based on temperature, so right now I've got enough temperature to rev it only to 9,000 RPM, but that'll go up as we go. We'll start in Sport automatic. Apparently, Lamborghini have tuned this 8-speed DCT to be harsh. They've literally tuned drama into the shifts, so they could make this perfectly smooth. You don't feel the shifts at all, but it kind of hits you in the back when it changes gear, and that's entirely on purpose. Think sort of single clutch automated manual in the Aventador. That's kind of what they're trying to go after here. So we'll see if that's a nice thing or not. I've heard that it can upset the car if you change gear while you're going around a corner quickly. So a lot of this stuff, guys, you're going to be learning at the exact same time as me. Overall interior comfort, these carbon fiber seats do a pretty nice job holding me in. Obviously, all of the adjustments here are completely manual to save those 55 pounds in the Embroidered package. And this is kind of just the Lamborghini way. You're just kind of in this cocoon, and then you have a massive dashboard sprawling out in front of you because the windshield is at such an angle. But also, the front of the car is small, so they have to have, for crumple zones and things, have to have lots of room in front of you. But inside, at least, this still feels like a Lamborghini. And look at this vent design. This is what this car is all about. Little design elements here and there that just add to the overall exquisite nature of the comprehensive design. Sonos Faber sound system, which we'll test for you if we have service later. In fact, I should probably get the sound system test song queued up. It's easy to put this into manual mode. Just hit the little M on your shifter. Yeah, those shifts are apparent. I mean, even when you're shifting half throttle, 5,000 RPM, it still hits you in the back. My goodness. So fast. I'm just gonna do that. It's pretty loud on the highway. You don't have a ton of sound deadening in here. I assume also with the Embroidered package, you do lose some of that. Ride quality actually seems to be pretty decent here, even in sport mode. scrambling for grip from all four wheels on the highway. Oh my goodness, it's a first generation Honda Insight. Sick, bro. I love the way we're gawking at each other's cars. In what world does that happen? I've always wanted to drive one of those. Give them a little flyby. You do get the odd pop and burble from the exhaust. That's just kind of typical German fashion. I hate to say German, but come on, let's be honest. Most of this car has been made by Germans. The chief engineer, the chief designer, both Germans. And obviously Lamborghini is owned by Audi, who's owned by Volkswagen. So it is kind of an Audi, but this is kind of what's nice about these newer Lamborghinis is they let the Germans do all the mechanical bits, which means they'll work. Now the only consequence there, of course, is that we no longer have a V10 in this. But if you're somebody that cares about going very quickly, then you should thank the Germans. All right, let's put this in Strada, and I'm also going to put this back into Auto. You do that by just clicking the M one more time. So now we're just in our regular drive mode in automatic, and this is what it's like to just sit in this Temerario. I'll be honest, elbow surfaces, not the most comfortable. In fact, they're just very hard materials. I don't want to say plastic because I don't think it is. Well, we were screwed from the get-go with the Leggeritta because the entire door panel is made out of carbon fiber, so that's never going to be comfortable. But even this middle bit here that they try to make a little bit padded, not very comfortable. I think it's because the seat is so bolstered that I can't really get my arm back anyway. So just gotta, you know, both hands on the wheel, let your arms dangle sort of situation here in the Temerario. But here's what's so nice about these baby Lambos is they're actually usable. And prime example here, look how much I can see out of this back window. No need for a camera mirror like you need in a McLaren. You can see everything you need out of that. The side view mirrors do a great job, and they look like the DRLs. Check that out. The fact that I can see out of this mostly, we have blind spot monitors, which is good for the B-pillar area, which is always a bit of a weak spot with cars like this. You've actually got, okay, I was gonna say places to put things, but it looks like you've just got this bit here, which is I think it's a wireless charger. Geez, it may not be because you've got two USB-C ports in front of it. And then I can't show you right now because I'd have to turn my head completely around, but behind the little armrest, there's another one of these. So you can store some things there, but everything's just gonna fall out when you're doing 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds. Very impressed with the dampers on this car. I mean, with the massive wheels and sporty tires we have going on here, ride quality is fantastic on this. No complaints. In fact, it's borderline floaty in Strada mode. This is unbelievable. It is tramlining quite a bit, but we'll gloss over that. So we've got cruise control on this. This is just the cruise control stock from an Audi. So you push it away from you to turn it off, you pull it towards you to turn it on. So I've got this now set at 78 miles an hour, and it's got adaptive cruise also. I can set my following distance here to the Topher in this GT3. It does follow quite a ways. Maybe it assumes you'll be following another Temerario and you don't want your windshield to get smashed. Kick down here with this 8-speed DCT is pretty good from a daily driving perspective too. Obviously with the instant electric torque, it doesn't need to be kicking down a ton. So you saw there it only went from 8th to 7th. You know what, maybe let's do this sound system test right now, because once we get off the highway, we're not going to want to mess with that. We're going to be on canyons. We're going to need to be on full concentration mode. So let's see what this Sonus Faber can do. I've got everything zeroed out. You guys already know I hate the way you adjust the volume in these new Lamborghinis. There's no volume knob. It's all in the screen. funny too, if you use the buttons on the back of the wheel, you can't hold the button, so you just have to hit it a million times. Okay, let's turn this down with the touchscreen. Honestly, pretty dang good sound system, and supercars, they're very hit and miss. We saw Sonus Faber, I believe, first on the Maserati MC20, and that car's completely unrelated to this one, but Sonus Faber, they're kind of finding their market here in these kind of mid-engined, high-performance supercar things to make pretty good sound systems, and that was a hole that needed filling, because prior to the latest couple of Lamborghinis, the Revuelto and this Temerario, for one, I could never get the infotainment system to work ever. This one sucks too, but it's a little bit better than the outgoing ones. But also, they never really had great sound systems, and now that we're kind of seeing that in this newer generation of car, that is good. I like that, because it makes it just that much more livable, that much more usable, that much more pleasant to get into in the morning. I love being able to listen to my music, and I can do that in a Lamborghini. So, obviously big fan of that. Oh, the steering is so light even when you're at speed. All right, I'm gonna go into sport again, back into manual. I always love driving these cars because you can see the heat coming off of the engine bay. You just leave it in first gear. 30 miles an hour in first gear, it's only at 4,000 RPM. Ooh, that changed in a second. It is so exciting. Hear those couple little burbles there on the down rev. My goodness. So this is similar to the Revuelto in the way that you've got the drive mode selector over here, which is red, but then you also have the hybrid mode selector. So if you want the full 907 horsepower, you have to be in Corsa, and then you have to put the hybrid system into performance mode. So now I've got the full 907. That is just... And there's not really any lag because it has twin turbochargers and 3 electric motors, so there's always something to get you going. When the turbos are spooling up, the electric motors are doing their thing, and then once the turbos are spooled up, they can come in and they can do their thing, and it's just like, there's a lot going on in this car, I must say, even in Corsa. My goodness, yeah, the steering, it's light, but it's very quick. I'm trying to get some heat in these tires too, so we don't die once we're up on the canyon road. All right, well, for the time being, I'm gonna pull this back out of the spicy modes. We're just gonna stay in sport with our hybrid system in regular, and then, can I get a tire temperature? Yes, I can. All right, I like having that. You can also have a navigation screen here. It takes up the whole cluster. Or you can just have the rev counter. I like having a lot of information. In a car like this, it's important. I want all my temperatures and pressures. I want my tire temperatures, which, geez, my warmest tire is 100. It is always nice driving with people that are aware. Like the Topher giving me that extra room there is always nice. This will still do the both paddles into neutral. If you just want to comfortably coast to a stop, you just got to then remember to put yourself back into first gear. I don't know, should we take a break from the engine? The seat is starting to wear on me a bit. You have to be committed to this Arrabbiata package. How fast will it go in EV mode? Cheetah. Listen to that GT3. Look at this now. Basically just a big golf cart. I'm in a $600,000 bright green golf cart. I feel like the only real way to drive this is with the paddle shifters. The rev range is so big. And there's just power and torque everywhere. It doesn't really matter where you're revved, how fast you're going. All of that is irrelevant to the Temerario. These roads are a little bit greasy though, so we're gonna be as careful as we can. I do get this whole motorcycle vibe that the Topher was talking about. It does just kind of sound like a Suzuki. Spinning its wheels there into third gear. I wasn't scared. It's so quick. In fact, Motor Trend named this the quickest internal combustion engine car they've ever tested, ever. I mean, and the fact that this is the baby, this is this is cheaper than the Revuelto. I mean, you don't get the V12 obviously, so the drama's not there, but if you're just worried about performance, then this is the one. Never rev it to 10,000 because you always run out of room. It's so funny, the idea of like a morning commute usually doesn't look like this, but for some people in California it actually does. Like, imagine taking this road every morning on your morning commute, just being able to look at mountains. Right, I'm getting hot. Climate control, that's in the screen. Don't like that at all. Right, I want that to point at me, but then how do you adjust the weird looking vents on the dash? That's okay, we've got 60 degrees there. There you go. Ah, nice refreshing breeze on my face now. That's what I've been wanting. Alright, I'm going to put this back into its attack setting. It's funny, the Taycan Turbo GT literally has an attack mode. Maybe Lambo should steal that from Porsche. Get off. Wanting to shift this thing at like 7,000 RPM because that seems appropriate for a V8, right? You can just hang out in second gear. I'm gonna give them some room because this is just so much faster that I'm catching them every 3 seconds. Also, these roads are greasy, man. I like my 900 horsepower bone dry. Even though the steering is vague and light, the chassis here, hard to argue with that. This is, I've spent a lot of time at IMSA races at the Detroit GP, and that's what this sounds like. This sounds like something that would go whizzing past me. You know, this, I've never driven anything that sounds like this. It's unbelievable. A 10,000 RPM V8. Now, do I think it sounds as good as the Huracan? No, I don't, but this is special in its own way altogether. This is seriously wild. Seriously, the only bummer is it's really hard to get it to 10,000 RPM. Thank this person, very polite. It's genuinely hard to get this thing to 10,000 RPM because you need such a long straightaway to do it in second. In third gear, forget about it. Can I do sport with the... I can't. I can do sport with the hybrid system in performance, okay? Jeez. Don't like those gear changes. I'll be honest. Also, this is all just soaking wet now, so there's not really much we can do here. It's alright, we got a couple good runs. Yeah, that upsets the car quite a bit. I mean, that was like 60% throttle there, and it wants to kill you. Which, you know, it sometimes is quite exciting, but in this situation, I don't really want something that wants to kill me. Auto wipers work well. All wheel spin. Yep, alright. No more full throttle, that's it. That's all she wrote. Alrighty guys, well, that's been a morning commute in the bonkers 2026 Lamborghini Temerario. I'm sure we'll get one of these back at home as well, and we'll be able to test it out a bit more when the roads aren't soaking wet. It is so loud in here. best car to be in right now would be that Integra. It's got an all-season tire and you can just drive it flat out the whole time. The fact that I can't really go over 50% throttle here in the wet without it spinning its wheels and trying to kill me, maybe it's a little bit too much, I don't know. But also, this is the first rendition, this is the base model. There's gonna be more of these that are gonna have more power. I mean, expect to see 1,000 horsepower renditions of the Temerario at some point. And the fact that they've come out of the gate with this car already being as fast as it is, doing 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, and having all this power, I don't see where they're gonna go forward. Like, what's the STO gonna be? I think the cool thing to do would be to make the special versions of this car more emotional, because while this is very fast and while yes it sounds unique and special in its own way, it doesn't have the soul and character of the Huracan. It just doesn't. And I mean, you can assume that just by reading the numbers and the description on paper. I like that they've made this V8 rev to 10,000 RPM, but I'd rather have a V10 that revs to 8,000 that has 200 less horsepower, because I'd be having probably more fun, honestly, on this road if I could go through more gears, if the car wasn't as willing to send me off a cliff. I just think they had such a good thing going with the Huracan. That was probably just about the perfect formula, and it's unfortunate that these days we're kind of just in one of those other horsepower wars where everybody is just trying to make the fastest thing, you know? And that's really what this car is. Cool R34 Skyline there. Alrighty guys, let's give you one last look here at this Temerario. I'm going to put my front end lift up here. I don't think there are any outro spots in Michigan that can rival this, but holy crap, parking brake is on. My goodness. Look at this. Well, there's been a little bit of a morning commute out to whatever this is in the 2026 Lamborghini Temerario. This thing is nuts. I wish we could have gotten on it a little bit more, but again, we'll have one of these back home someday and we'll be able to unleash it a bit more when it's not soaking wet and I don't have guardrails that are this far away from me. But thank you guys all so much for watching. That's gonna do it. Let me know what you think of the Temerario. Do you think they did this right? I still had fun, but I missed the V10. All right guys, that's gonna be it. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.